gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. It is Thursday, June 19th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A beautiful Thursday here in the Quad Cities. A lot to get to here on the show. If you are watching us live on YouTube, thank you. We appreciate that. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much. We are also live on X. X has been very good to us. Over 2,000 people watched the show on X yesterday. So that is super exciting to see and hear. So if you're on X and you're listening and watching, thank you for that. And also you can check us out on all the podcasting platforms as well each and every day here in the Quad Cities. Should be a fun day. Coming up in a little bit, hopefully. We're having a few technical difficulties with our good friend Pat Anger, but hopefully we catch up with Pat here in just a little bit. Pat, of course, taking part in the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf outing yesterday. That and a whole bunch more with our weekly chat with Pat Anger should be coming up. Hopefully will be coming up here in a little bit. Also, we're going to get caught up on some Iowa State stuff. We do a lot with the Hawkeyes, a lot with the Illini. Iowa State, a great fan base here in the Quad Cities. We're going to be joined by our good friend Jake Brend, who recently made a big move of his own, getting out of local TV after spending 3 years at WOI in Des Moines, and he is now the chief content officer, I believe, for the Cyclone Fanatic. So a lot to get to with him on his switch, his career, where he's headed to, and then some Cyclone notes as well. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. That and a whole bunch more here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Thursday. If you missed some of the shows this week, shame on you. Go back and check them out. It's been a good week for Quad City Sports. We're basically hitting everybody. We've gotten Dave Heller, the owner of the Bandits, Doug Bland, the owner of the Steamwheelers, Andrew Lehman, John Deere Classic tournament director. So a bunch of good stuff the last 3 days. Also, Alleman has a new head football coach. It is Tom Barber. We talked to him yesterday. So if you want to check out that interview, you can go check that out as well. So a lot of good stuff this week on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Go check it out on the YouTube page. Get caught up with all the fun that's been going on here on the show. Before we get rolling with too much more, I want to check out some headlines in the world of sports right now. And we're going to start with that John Deere Classic we talked about yesterday. Andrew Lehman was on the show hoping and saying there was a possibility of landing some more commitments and some more big names. 9 days, now 8 days until the field has to be set. And it was no more than 5 minutes after the show got done that this came out. The John Deere Classic announcing that Ben Griffin, another top 15 player in the world, number 15 in the world, is officially added to the John Deere Classic field. Griffin, 2 wins this year, 8 top 10s, including just last week at the U.S. Open. It'll be his second straight season coming to the John Deere Classic. He's 5th in FedEx Cup playoff points. So doing great this season, a top 15 player in the world. Really good story with him, too. In 2021, he was burned out when it came to golf. Gave up the game, got out. I think he got into mortgages and stuff like that. Got back in, and he's been really, really good since. So cool story with that. Ben Griffin, another big name, another really good golfer heading to the John Deere Classic coming up 4th of July week. So, and I think there may be more as we go. We'll keep getting caught up with Andrew Lehman as we go throughout the week and weeks right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. But a very good get for the John Deere Classic. So congratulations to Andrew Lehman and his staff. And of course, congrats to us as well, because we got another great golfer heading to the Quad Cities coming up real soon. Another thing I wanted to get to, workouts are underway in Iowa City for the Iowa basketball team. It's a new era, Ben McCullum and company. I think they started last weekend or maybe Monday. But anyways, they're open to the media later today, so we'll have more on that tomorrow. See if we can catch up with Tom Kakert and see what he saw up there when it comes to that kind of stuff. But Iowa recently posted a really cool video with two intriguing things. We'll take a look at it right now, but it's Ben McCullum, the new head coach, and there's Cooper DeJean, of course, star of the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And everyone know Cooper could ball back in high school. He looks really impressive in the video. Windmill dunks, going to the rim several times there. But see who's being checked out by right there? Ben McCullum gets the steal right there. And then check out Ben with the nice move to the bucket. Coach McCullum can ball as well, although Cooper got him with the block right there. And then you can see later on Cooper getting to the rim. I think Ben knocks down a three eventually coming up right here. So my takeaways is Cooper DeJean could play basketball at Iowa. He's that good. And the new head hawk, Ben McCullum, can play a little basketball as well. So a new time, a new era of Iowa athletics. So we'll get caught up on that. It's open to the media later today, and we're going to try to catch up with some players as well coming up end of this week, next week, kind of new era of Iowa basketball with Ben McCullum and company. But I saw that on social media, thought it was really interesting, wanted to share it and pass it along. Cooper DeJean, really good in basketball, freak athlete basically, and then Ben McCullum showing off a little bit in his 40s. I'm thinking he's 44, 45, something like that, my age. Didn't look like me out there. Looked a little better than me, but impressive from Coach McCullum as well. Iowa State Athletics, the headline came out yesterday that they're partnering with Elite Casino Resorts. No big deal. I mean, it's just changing things when it comes to college sports. It's something we're kind of getting used to, the newness of some things here and there. But it is ironic considering it was like 2 years ago, there was a huge gambling scandal in the state of Iowa involving Iowa State University and the University of Iowa. And now here we are 2 years later, and a casino is sponsoring one of the universities and going into partnerships and all that. So really just ironic, I guess. We'll talk with Jake Brend about that coming up in just a little bit. So interesting stuff when it comes to that as well. And also last night, the Bandits got back on track. They won 8-4. They're trying to clinch a first half championship, get into the playoffs as well. So we'll keep updated on that as well. So we're going to take a quick break, hear from our good friend Jake Gervais real fast, and then we're going to catch up on, I think we're going to catch up with Jake. If I can find that darn little thing. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're just going to hit a quick 30-second break, and then we're going to be back with Jake Brend, and then hopefully Pat Anger coming up a little bit later on in the show as well. So you're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We'll be back in about 40 seconds. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. We've talked a lot of Iowa and Illinois this week, and as of late, haven't covered or caught up with the Cyclones as much, so I figured it'd be a great time to bring our good friend Jake Brend back on the show. Jake, I usually introduce you as WOI's Jake Brend, but a big change in your life. You just recently, in fact, I think this past weekend was your last weekend, got out of the local TV business. Kind of tell us your new venture and what you're up to right now.
Yeah, so I left Local 5 on Sunday, and I was thankful for 3 great years, but I have moved on to Cyclone Fanatic. If you're not familiar with it, over in the eastern part of the state, it's a fan site started up in part by Chris Williams almost 20 years ago.
Has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah, so
that's impressive.
It started as a message board 20 years ago. So a group of Cyclone fans that didn't really think that Iowa State got enough coverage kind of invested in this message board, brought Chris on, started it up as like a fan site, and it has grown obviously enough to poach a local TV broadcaster, and we're going to take it into the new age. And I'm really, really excited to see what we're going to be able to do.
Now, part of me envisions a young Jake Brend reading these message boards and being part of Cyclone.
Yeah.
So kind of talk about that full circle, because that's got to be exciting. Something you probably grew up reading and watching and being part of on the fan side of things. Now you get to do on a full-time basis.
Yeah, it's really cool when you do put it like that, because I remember when I was, I couldn't have been older than 14 or 15. I took like a Cyclone Fanatic charter to the Cyhawk game at Carver Hawkeye Arena. I was by myself. My mom dropped me off, and I kind of hung out, went to the game. So that was over a decade ago, probably. And I've always just been a Cyclone fanatic, and I'd hang out on the message boards. I'd listen to all the podcasts. I'd read all the articles, and now I'm on the other side of it, and I get to be in charge of bringing content to Cyclone fans and talking about the team and doing it in a way that it's interesting, because Chris said when he started, it was obviously a different age of media. He didn't want anybody to know that he was a Cyclone fan. And after a couple of years, he started to lean into it more. And his philosophy that he gave to me and that he lives by is, we want everyone to know that we want the Cyclones to win. But we also want everyone to know that if the team is 2-10, we're going to say that the team is 2-10 and not very good. And that's the kind of coverage that you can expect. And but you're going to know that I do want Iowa State to win, as I have forever.
Yeah. Jake, you look at it too. And I always said that, like, and I tell my kids too, you're not working if you love what you do. And I know what you love what you do covering sports, and at Local 5, I loved what I got to do, but you really get to do what you love. It's not like you had a bad gig, but that makes quality of life and getting up every day and every assignment you're going to probably love. That's got to be exciting for you too.
Yeah, it's really exciting, because I did love so many parts of local TV. But I still felt like, especially during football season, if Iowa State plays Saturday at 11 a.m., I'm working till midnight the Friday night before. And I feel like the Fridays would take from the Saturdays, and the Saturdays would take from the Fridays, because you've only got so much energy, you've only got so much brain power. So while I will miss high school football and high school basketball and all of that, it will be really nice to where the only thing that I do when I wake up is I'm talking Cyclones, I'm covering every presser. I'll be able to build better relationships with coaches and players when you're there all the time, instead of just, hey, we're going to pop by this media availability and we'll be at the game tonight, but you're not on the beat. So I'm excited to be actually on the beat now.
Absolutely. Any reaction or thought to the rumors that Keith Murphy was so fired up and mad about you winning the Sportscaster year in Iowa that he threatened you, and that's why you're leaving the TV business? Is there any truth to that at all?
Yeah, so I want to say it was New Year's a couple of years ago. We were down in Orlando for the Citrus Bowl. It was not a good Citrus Bowl for Iowa. It was the Nico EA Meleava Super Bowl. And Murph, Shannon, Earhart, and I, excuse me, took a picture at the hotel bar on New Year's. And Murph posted the next day the meeting of the three families, which is in reference to the Mafia. And he's not lying. If you get on Keith's bad side, he can blackball you from local TV. So no, Murph is the best. I'm still convinced that he sent a group text to all the voters like, "Hey guys, Walters and I have won enough. Let's let's give it to the kid.
Yeah.
But Murph is the best, and I will miss like Iowa Bowl trips with him, but hopefully I'll get to see him on some Iowa State Bowl trips or NCAA tournament trips.
Well, and he gets to do what he loves too. Obviously, he's still doing sports director and that, but like it's all evolving. You know, they're doing the show that they do with Iowa Everywhere and those kind of things, and you as well. Like, and everything evolves, and I think that's what people in life, not just in this business, but if you're not evolving and changing, you're probably getting left behind. So I think it's a beautiful thing. I love that. I love the fact that you continue to hop on here with me, despite being the most powerful person in the state of Iowa. So I thank you for that as well. And there's Iowa State stuff to talk about. Gosh, I had a bunch. And then like yesterday afternoon, just a weird headline came out that the University of, or Iowa State University now has a partnership. Gosh, it was right here with, what is it? It's Elite Casino Resort. And it just looked weird, because obviously it was just like 2-3 years ago, it was the gambling scandal involving the schools in the state of Iowa, including Iowa State and Iowa. It just looked weird optically, but there's really, I mean, nothing wrong with it. It just kind of take me your thoughts when you saw that headline, I guess.
Yeah, when I saw it, it's just irony, because one, I think it shows how much the sport has changed even in 2 years, because gambling, it is frowned upon for athletes. It still is. And I agree that it should be. But then to turn around 2 years later, and now schools all across the country are accepting casino sponsorships, which is fine, because you turn on ESPN, what percentage of your ads are for DraftKings or FanDuel or Circus? Like, it's every single time. It's everywhere. And of course, these networks they're producing, or they're benefiting from gambling ads. So it's very ironic, and it's just a bad look for the NCAA, because they would come down so hard on, don't get me wrong, the players that were betting on their own team, they deserved what they got. They deserved to be banned from the NCAA, but the Noah Shannon who put $5 on the Stanley Cup Finals, the fact that he was never able to play again, and now an in-state school is getting money that they need, but they're getting it from a casino. It just shows the hypocrisy of the NCAA, and it gets me worked up how that whole deal was handled.
Yeah, it was. Somebody said to me the other day that Noah and Shannon situation was clunky. It was just like yesterday. I'm like, it wasn't clunky. It was wrong. Like, there's a difference between being clunky and, yeah, there's just certain things that wasn't done correctly. It's weird, Jake, because so I live in the Quad Cities on the Illinois side. So over here, like when it comes to college athletics, you can't bet on any state school. So I can't bet on Illinois or Illinois State or, but in Iowa, you can't bet on, or there's not as many player props. I don't think there's any player props in Iowa, but in Illinois,
very few.
In Illinois, you can bet on all the player props, which is a slippery slope as well. So I guess Illinois is saying you can't individually bet on those players, but you can hop to any state and do. It's just, the whole thing is, like you said, you know, there's so much hypocrisy in a lot of it. But yeah, it was a weird headline, but I don't think anything bad. Like, you put it best, just ironic, to say the least. Not a great day a couple days ago for Iowa State football when it came to a prize quarterback commit. Kind of talk about that. And Iowa fans know what that's all about as well. They've had players poached from Alabama as well, including Caden Proctor recently.
Yep.
Twice, I guess, maybe, if you want to look at it like that. So kind of talk us through a prize prospect recruit, quarterback-wise from Omaha, left Iowa State for Alabama.
Yeah, so Jed Tamala, he committed to Iowa State late April, and then not even 3 weeks later, Alabama swoops in with an offer. He was on 247 Sports, he was the third highest Iowa State football recruit of all time, behind just Alan Lazard and J.J. Cole. So one of those guys worked out, one did not. But it's a big loss, no matter how you cut it, because there's a reason Alabama's going after him. There's a reason he was rated as high as he is, and he was an Elite 11 kid. So it's a big loss. What I will say, Rocco Becht, of course, has one more year, potentially two, depending on what this year goes like and if he feels that the NFL is an option for him after this year. And then after that, they've got another similar prospect, an Iowa kid, Alex Mansky from Algona, who's coming in this year, and Connor Moberly. So it's not like the cupboard is bare for the future, but you would have liked to have Tamala better than not having him.
Oh, absolutely. Where is Iowa State football right now when it comes to the excitement, the thought process of this season? What a great year last year and all those kind of things. And you mentioned Rocco Becht coming back and pieces coming back. I remember the NFL draft going, oh my God, another Cyclone, and including Bettendorf's own Darian Porter, who had a fantastic senior year, which I think is the beauty thing about what Iowa State does and what Iowa does both is you have those senior year stories or those development stories where you have a guy you never heard of playing special teams, and all of a sudden he's, one of the best players in the Big 12 and going in the second round of the draft. Where is excitement, expectations for Iowa State football as we, 2 months away, 2.5 months away from the season?
It's a little bit lower than I have kind of expected. And I don't know if that's just because we're still mid-June and maybe we got to get to July before that starts. But I think nationally, maybe being slept on a little bit just because of Jalen Nolan, Jaden Higgins, which is completely understandable. It's hard to replace two 1,000-yard receivers. And I do think for sure that the offense will be a little bit worse. I think it'll be a little bit more conservative, trying to run the football. Got good tight ends this year, and you've got two good transfer receivers coming in. But on the other end, the defense last year was so bad compared to the mean for Iowa State football, especially when it comes to rushing defense and getting to the quarterback. And I don't know if you remember this, Dazzo, at one point, they were down to fourth and fifth string linebackers. They were starting true freshman walk-ons from 8-man football in Iowa. So I think the defense will be better off because of that, because they built so much experience at depth. And I think the front seven will be better as long as they can find one of the defensive ends, whether it's Ike Uzat. I need to learn how to say his name.
Good
again.
luck.
I haven't done it since November, but I think if the offense dips just a little bit, I think the defense will bounce back a little bit too. And that could even out. But again, the schedule is going to be a lot tougher than it was last year. And they start the season with probably their most important game, and they're doing it overseas. They're going to be 6 hours ahead of the natural body clock. So it's a very, very weird start to the season.
Do you get to go on that trip now?
I do, yes.
So tell us about it. Tell us, do you start planning for that now and all those kind of things?
Yeah, so we've been talking about it. The weird thing is, it's not going to be any different. They're treating it as like they're going to Stillwater or they're going to play a game at BYU. So they're doing their normal Tuesday football availability in Ames. They're flying out Wednesday, and then they'll have an extra day over there, essentially. And instead of a 2-day road trip that most road games would be, it's a 3-day road trip for the team. And a lot of that is to, one, not have these young 18 to 22-year-old guys, not have them get adjusted to the European time zone. And I think the other is just avoid distractions. It's not a bowl game against Miami or an exhibition against Memphis. It is your biggest conference rivalry against K-State, against a team that I think is going to win the Big 12. And if you can win that game, you're in the best spot you've been in the Big 12 to start a year in forever. And that, it is weird. It is still not set in with me. Like, I'll be over there. I'll be at the Guinness factory. I'll be drinking Guinness all week, and I'll be working over there doing some podcasts and all that. And it's going to feel like a bowl trip because you're going to have thousands of Cyclone fans walking around these pubs. But when the ball is kicked off, it is the most important game of the season for Iowa State. And that, it's going to be weird to adjust.
Well, and you look at it too, Jake. It's. I know there's other games that week, but it's basically one of the biggest highlighted games on the college football. And you know what it's like. Everybody's starving for college football to start, and all of a sudden it's that team coming off that season where they played so well, and it's a great rivalry overseas. All those kind of things that can jumpstart something pretty special against, you said, a Kansas State team that's going to be really good as well. Kind of talk about what it can do for the program itself. Not that it needs to. I mean, it's a program that has done so much, so I don't want to disparage where the program's at, but it could really, like you say, jumpstart a special season.
Yeah, I think Iowa State's in a pretty similar spot to where Iowa was, like in that early 2010 range, or the 2010s, or it doesn't feel like Matt Campbell has a ton left to prove. I think this is just kind of who they are. They're a program that the baseline should be 8-4 in that range, and if the ball bounces your way a couple times, you could be looking at a 10-2, 11-1 special season. Or if you're bad in close games for a year, you could dip down to 6-6, and that's where I think Iowa State is. And if you could start the season with a win over K-State, a team that a lot of people will pick to win the league, a team that has Avery Johnson at quarterback, who is a trendy pick to win Big 12 Player of the Year. If the Cyclones start the year with a win over K-State, then you come back, you've got to not stub your toe against an FCS team when you're flying back from Ireland, but that shouldn't be an issue. And then it's the Cyhawk game. And as we know, that'll be a one-score game. It always is. And if you win the Cyhawk game, you're starting the season 4-0, heading into Big 12, or heading back into Big 12 play, because you'd already be 1-0. And it's probably the most important September of, not from a perspective unlike, because the September of 2023, when Iowa State lost to Ohio and lost to Iowa right after the gambling scandal, that felt like the most important September, because, oh my gosh, if they don't get this turned around, what could be the future? This is more from a perspective of, if you want to be a player in the Big 12 and you want to maybe represent the conference at the college football playoff, this is a very, very important September and August. Sorry, because two of those games are in August.
Yeah, gosh, that's crazy. I mean, we're sitting here now on June 19th. I mean, we are 2 months and 4 days away from Iowa State on the field playing football against Kansas State. It's a beautiful thing. I got to talk to you about basketball before I let you go. I know workouts are underway in Ames. I know the same in Iowa City. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier in the show. Boy, we talked so much during last season, Jake, and you didn't have to convince me how good Iowa State was last year. I was on the bandwagon before the bandwagon went. And then just things went sideways late. Injuries are going to catch up with you and all those kind of things, and they did for Iowa State. What's the vibe around that program right now, with a ton of talent coming back and some nice additions? And I mean, it should be really, really good again.
Yeah, so they posted a video on Monday of just, we're here, summer workouts, all that. And it opened up with TJ Otzelberger talking for 8 seconds. And the way he started it, he said, we are an elite defensive team, and we're an elite offensive team. I thought, I don't know if that was intentional, but what I know and what I think is that team got a little bit away from their identity last year. A lot of that was because they were so much more improved on offense, but I think that not only took away from the defensive abilities, one at the center position, Deshaun Jackson, he was a good offensive player, but he was not the level of defensive center that Iowa State had grown accustomed to the few years before that. And then I think just psychologically, if we can put up 90 points, we don't have to play the level of defense that we're used to. And I think that ended up being the downfall, on top of the injuries and everything that came with that. So what I expect to see this year is a return to that defensive identity. And I don't know how in the weeds you are for the transfer portal recruiting, but Oscar Clough, 22-point-a-game scorer at South Dakota State, it sounded like he was pretty much a Cyclone, and something fell through. He ended up at Purdue. And then they go and get their backup option, this Blake Buchanan from Virginia. Not as highly rated, definitely not as good of a prospect, but I think he is more your typical fit to be a defensive center, where Clough, not much of a defensive guy. So I think that's what I'm looking at for Iowa State this year.
Yeah, no, that's not. And if it wasn't scripted for TJ, it was just this thought process, if that makes sense. Sometimes when you're non-scripted, you say what you actually think the most than anything else. Before I let you go, because it's fascinating to me. As you can see, I got Iowa and Illinois helmets on the desk, and I grew up an Iowa fan, and 12-year-old me, I hated Illinois. And the more I grew up, the more I matured, I guess. I don't know if I ever have. I don't have that hatred, if that makes any sense. Did you grow up hating Iowa?
Oh, yeah.
How was it for you covering the Hawkeyes? And I can think back, Jake, and it might not have ever happened, but I'm sure it had to. You were probably stuck at Kinnick Stadium covering Iowa when Iowa State was playing elsewhere, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's why I had AirPods. I would.
I thought you didn't like me. I just thought you didn't want to talk to me. That's why you had AirPods in. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I say that to everybody. No, so I knew pretty much that the whole summer before I got the job at Local 5, I knew that I would probably be working in media eventually in Iowa. I didn't know I'd get a job as soon as I did. And once I got the job, I just started to think all right. I got to get over this rivalry, this hatred. I have to do it. And I felt like I made progress over the summer. And then the first time when I walked into Kinnick Stadium, it was back. And it was something that I had to deal with over those 3 years. And like you said, it kind of goes away a little bit, but the rivalry does not. And when it comes to my coverage, I honestly thought my first year I overcorrected. I was almost way more positive towards Iowa, a little more negative towards Iowa State, because I did not want any allegations of being a homer.
Yeah.
And then I think as I grew more, I think I evened out to the middle where I would try and talk about Iowa and Iowa State the same. But with my buddies back home, no, I never changed in that way. Yeah. And now I can probably lean into it even a little more. But I have nothing but good things to say about the people at Iowa and Matt Weitzel and Bailey. All those people have been so good to me, and so's Kirk Ferentz. And Ben McCollum's been great to me at Drake. And I've got a lot of very good people that I know at Iowa. And my grandparents are diehard Iowa fans. So
no way.
I'm definitely... Yeah.
So what happened to you?
The ones that live in Iowa City.
Did they drop you on your head when you were little? What happened? Tell me how this whole thing happened.
So my mom grew up an Iowa fan in Iowa City.
Okay.
Went to Iowa State and met my dad, who did grow up an Iowa State fan, and I was not getting away. That was the one thing that I remember being 2 years old was I was going to be an Iowa State fan, and I remember watching The Simpsons with my dad when I was 2 years old. And I never really wavered from that point on. And
I love it.
I was probably mean to my grandparents when I was in elementary school. I grew out of that, and I was always very nice to them about Iowa. But my brother, he's 22 now, is not. It's an interesting dynamic.
No, I love it. It's funny because, and you did 3 years. I say that like you did time. You did 3 years. I was in for 25 years. I don't mean it like that, but it does fade away. In fact, I had a sports director, Dan Birch, tell me one time, there's going to be times you root for Illinois and that you root against Iowa. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. He's like, trust me, with deadlines, with things that go on. And I've never rooted against Iowa, but I can remember Buffalo, being in Buffalo and having Iowa lose. And 12-year-old me would have been distraught, throwing things mad. But 40 whatever year old me with kids was like, I'm going to go home and spend the weekend with my kids and watch basketball with them. And it wasn't the end of the world. And I think you mentioned Kirk being respectful and all that kind of stuff. I remember sitting down with Bruce Weber at Oakwood Country Club when they were here for like an Illini Caravan, and we did a whole sit down segment for me, and we just had time when we got done. And so we just sat there and BS for about 20 minutes. He was amazing. I remember coming home, my wife, we had just gotten married, and I said, like, Bruce Weber's awesome. I feel like I have to take a shower. Like, I really like him. And so it kind of wears and all that kind of stuff. But I will say this, and you'll do the same thing when you get married and have kids. Like, my in-laws are Illini fans. And I was so like religion, like whatever school, whatever you can have, whatever. I get Iowa. And so I wouldn't let my oldest Charlie, like they would try to put him in orange and stuff and he wouldn't do it. Like, I'm like, no. So he doesn't like cheese to this day. And I swear the reason why is because cheese was orange. Orange was bad, so he wasn't going to eat cheese. So is that something where like you are fully expect, and I believe in that too. Your kids should be Iowa State fans. I never get these parents that are like, oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he grew up this. I'm like, no, like raise your kid correctly. You get to raise them. I have a feeling the little Jakes that come into this world are eventually going to be Iowa State Cyclone fans.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That is a non-negotiable. They can go off the path if they want to pay for their own college, but they'll be Iowa State fans. And they'll also not be – I'm not a huge fan of the people that are like, I just cheer for this team when they're not playing my team. That I don't roll with that. You're either all in or you're all out, and I think that's the way sports should be. And the rivalry has been fun. If you stay off of social media, the rivalry is like 95% good.
Yeah.
And that's what makes college sports great. And we've got a great, like, we're not in Arkansas. Arkansas doesn't have an in-state rivalry. Yeah. I know they've got Arkansas State, but who cares? We've got two big-time programs that not every state is lucky enough to get something like that.
Illinois doesn't have it. I know they have other D1 programs, but like Northwestern, if you want to do that, but like they're in the same conference and they still don't have the rivalry that Iowa and Iowa State have. So no, I completely 100% agree. Obviously, pub what you do. And I think that's important too, because like you mentioned the eastern part of the state. Like you're living in the middle of Cyclone craziness. There's a ton of great Cyclone fans here in the Quad Cities. If they haven't heard about Cyclone Fanatic, first off, shame of you. You probably have. You're not a real Cyclone fan if you haven't. But talk about where they can get the content, all those kind of things as well.
Yeah, so what's awesome about Cyclone Fanatic is it is cross-platform. It's not like, hey, flip your remote to this channel and watch it this time every single night. It is catered to you however you consume media. So the easiest way, of course, is just cyclonefanatic.com. That's the website. That's the hub for all the podcasts. But if you're a YouTube person, Cyclone Fanatic on YouTube, all of our video podcasts, that's going to be the primary focus for me in the future is these 10, 15-minute daily podcasts.
Yeah, I saw the one yesterday.
Of information. Yeah, that was kind of a test launch.
It was funny because you said this is good with your Cyclone minute or like several minutes.
A few minutes, yeah.
I looked and it was like 5 minutes. But that's the beauty. Hey, did you hire a weather guy behind you saying, not the weather guy. I always am mean to the weather guys. It's not them over there saying, give me more time. But did you hear a producer in your ear saying, Rap, we got to cut because we got to go do last weather or something like that?
Nope, never.
Beautiful.
Never again.
Beautiful.
It'll be beautiful. So yeah, YouTube, Cyclone Fanatic, Twitter, Facebook, Cyclone, like all of that stuff. Just follow, like, subscribe, and you'll get it in your algorithm, and you'll hopefully get the best Cyclone content in the state. That's the goal.
I love it. Jake, I owe you several beers. You can add another one onto the list. I'm going to keep bugging you if you don't mind us doing that, and we appreciate it. I've had Cyclo fans say to me, like, I was getting really cranky, but you got that Jake Brend guy to come on to start talking about Iowa State. So you're starting to become like a hero here in the Quad Cities for Iowa State fans. So we appreciate it. Best of luck. I'm proud of you. Congratulations, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, thanks, Dazzo. Cody Road Bourbon is a big sponsor for us. Mississippi Distilling. And I know I don't know if there's an event coming up, but I know they do quite a few events there. So
yeah,
the next one we'll do, I'll shoot you a text and we'll have to either drink some whiskey or a couple beers.
Sounds great to me. I appreciate it. Be good, Jake.
Thanks, Dazzo.
All right, that is Jake Brend with Cyclone Fanatic now. And as I mentioned, he was the Iowa Sportscaster of the Year, and with very good reason. Super talented young guy that's going to do great things. And I love watching him get to do what he loves with the passion that he has with Iowa State. So we'll keep him, we'll keep bugging him throughout the seasons and get him here on OTA. So we got much more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hey, Quad Cities, you looking for a night of action, unity, and appreciation? We've got something special for you. Saturday night, June 28th, join the Quad City Steamwheelers for Military Night as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. We're honoring our heroes. All active duty and former military get in free. It's football, community, and a chance to show gratitude. Bring your family and friends for a night to remember. Get your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets. Let's stand together and cheer together.
The PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the Golf on the Weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday and Grammy Award-winning Zac Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit johndeereclassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Welcome back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. It's been a struggle today. Cannot get a hold of Pat Anger. I just cannot get him and his system connected. So, and I don't know if you've heard throughout the last couple weeks, but someone really likes to bark when I'm doing the show. And so I figured, you know what? I got a little time to kill, and I figured I might as well introduce that barking you hear in the background. This is our little dog, Penny. What do you think, Pen? What do you think? Want to say something? No, nothing. So she's almost, what is she, boys? She's almost 3. You should be much better for almost 3. No, not almost 3. 2.5. She's 2.5. She's little Miss Penny. Penny is named after, Penny Sewell. So and she's kind of the color of Penny as well. So anyways, we figured we'd have Penny come up and say hi. You got anything to say? You're always barking when I'm on TV. Or not TV, but on air. Anything? No? Okay, you can go see your brothers. Go see your brothers. Whoa! Can I have that? So anyways, I figured why not chat a little bit with the dog, considering technology is not working. So anyways, Pat will be back with us sometime soon. It might not be till next week. All he gets is a blue screen on his end. So we will try to figure that out in the near future. So I do want to talk about a couple quick things before we let you go a little early today. I'm still efforting for Shauna Green. Hopefully Shauna, pick her up and take her out. You don't need anything. Just go take her. Bye, Penny. Bye. Carson, you want to say hi? You don't want to come in your pajamas? I don't think we have time for you to change. So you either have to hop in here now or not. No time. You either do it now or never. Oh, yeah? Your shirt's on backwards, too. Okay. Come on out. Come on over. I'll pop you up on a 2-shot. Here. Oh, you can go back over to your seat. Oh, this business just picked up a little bit. We went from not having any guests right now to Carson. Hey, you got to bring that over to you so we can hear you. Bring it all the way over. Yeah. What's up, dude?
What's up?
Why are you not doing anything? Why are you not up yet? Here, you got to sit up in the chair.
So we can see your pretty. I don't want to.
You don't want to?
I want to go back to sleep.
You want to go back to sleep? Dude, it's 10:50.
I woke up at like 5:30, and you're awake getting dressed for an interview, and you just come up, no shirt on, and you come and cuddle me.
I did cuddle you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it would be. What do you got? What are you going to do today? What are we going to go do here in a little bit?
Go to open gym.
Go to open gym. How's your basketball game right now?
Good.
What's the best part of your game?
Knockout. No, scrimmage.
Scrimmage. You do a good job scrimmaging. Okay, well, you need to get you ready for that as well. So you're going to sneak out of here? And off he goes. There goes Carson. So gotta love when Carson grabs the microphone. Anyways, with that being said, we have a lot more to get to throughout the week. Shauna Green will be on hopefully either late this week or next week. And also we have much more coming up as well. So thank you guys for joining us today. We'll try to get Pat back up here and we'll get rocking and roll with him. And we'll be back with another edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo coming up tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.